3 Nigeria Info will be right back. This October 1st, Lagos will shake. Get ready for the biggest night in boxing history. Chaos in the ring. From the USA to the UK, from Ghana, Tanzania, Morocco, and Nigeria, the Warriors are coming to the Mobolaji Johnson Arena. 10,000 seats, VIP lounges on the arena floor, VVIP experiences like never before.
Electrifying walkout featuring international celebrities and musicians.
This Independence Day, witness power, glory, and pride collide in the ring. Chaos in the ring. October 1st at Mobolaji Johnson Arena, Onikon, Lagos. Tickets available now at onboard.com.
For inquiries, simply call 0708-781-9376. On Instagram is at Balmoral Promotions.
Don't miss history in the making. Chaos in the ring. Brought to you by Balmoral Group Promotions and American Promotions.
Are you finding it difficult listening to your favorite talk radio Nigeria Info via the mobile app? Come closer. Let me fix that for you. Now, launch the app on your device. Click the 3 lines on the top left corner of the app. Look for settings in the drop-down menu and click on it. Turn on the first option that you see. Make sure you turn on the option that says always use highest quality available audio. Now that you have done that, close the app and relaunch it. Voila! I did it! Oh, sorry, you did it. Now you can enjoy your radio anywhere, anytime. Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Hospitality's first exhibition, networking, sales, and conference event is back for the 6th edition in Lagos, Nigeria. Connect with top brands and professionals on the show floor from hotels and resorts, interior design and decor, food and beverage, tech for hospitality, travel, home care brands, hospitality product suppliers, and more. Meet, network, and listen to industry experts while you taste and enjoy eccentric meals and offers for 2 days. Date, September 29 to 30th, 2025. Venue, Landmark Event Center, Lagos. Doors open at 10 a.m. Register now to attend for free on www.hotelexponigeria.com. Hotel Expo Nigeria is sponsored by Guinness Nigeria, Nestle Pure Life, Wakanao, Dejin Homes, Echo Hotel and Suites, Ebony Life Place. Media partner, Nigeria Info. Hotel Expo Nigeria, reinventing hospitality.
Every day is about winning with one play on Nigeria Info. On Nigeria Info, daily winnings is now over 150,000 naira. Just go to oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 *3#. Play with as little as 500 naira, and in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. The more you play, the better your chances of winning every day on the Morning Crossfire, WhatsApp Lagos, and Game On shows on weekdays, and the Football Frenzy shows on weekends. But that's not all. Every Friday, there will be a 500,000 naira jackpot. Playing during the week automatically qualifies you for the weekly jackpot. Your chances of winning are the same whether you play on oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 *3#. Remember to play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18. OnePlay is a registered trademark under Lasho Trading Services Limited, licensed by the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission.
This October 1st, Nigeria marks another year of independence. But the big question is, how far have we really come? From the first flag hoisted in 1960 to the challenges of today, how has Nigeria fared since independence? Have we truly managed our democratic progress? Or are we still finding our way? Join all your favorite hosts on Nigeria Info FM together at one table with special guest analysts for a no-holds-barred conversation on The Round Table. Independence Day Special. Date Wednesday, October 1st. Time 9 a.m. Don't just celebrate. Join the conversation that defines our nation. The Round Table on Nigeria Info FM. Lagos, let's talk.
Real
voices, real stories, real news.
Again, armed herders invade Benue community.
Insecurity will still continue if nothing is done to security retirees who have retired.
You as a government body, yeah, but you as a government body, you have a responsibility.
That man is tackling Dangote for slashing those petrol prices.
They were the ones that have been involved in the fuel subsidy. Now again, they don't want us to have peace.
Inflation in Nigeria drops by 5th month in a row.
Local communities in Katsina State have reportedly entered into negotiations with armed groups.
The president has decided he no longer wants to rest. Is that emergency in Nigeria?
This is 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. It's 4 o'clock.
And now the business news.
Lagos, you're on to 99.3 Nigeria Info. I am Buluwatife Jagade. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has begun a major reorganization, telling some staff their services are no longer required. Management says this is a necessary response to repeated acts of sabotage that have raised serious safety concerns at the facility. However, a senior official insists this is not a mass sacking, but a temporary measure to identify and address security leaks. Affected employees are to hand over company property and await the computation of their entitlements. At a UN climate summit in New York, Nigeria and over 100 countries unveiled stronger climate plans. Vice President Kashim Shettima announced Nigeria's updated emissions strategy. Officials warned current efforts remain insufficient to meet the 1.5-degree warming limit, urging faster action ahead of COP30 in Brazil. And Nigeria is calling for urgent global action on nuclear disarmament. At the UN General Assembly, Defense Minister Mohammed Badaru urged immediate negotiations for a fissile material cut-off treaty. He described the treaty as a moral duty and a practical step to prevent a new arms race. Badaru highlighted Africa's own nuclear weapon-free zone as an example for the world. Nigeria's push aligns disarmament with freeing up resources for development and security. That's all for the news. I am Buluwatife Jagade. Borderlines with Ireti Bakare-Yusuf is up next.
United Nations, Atiku, Obi, and of course a senator from Borno State, Senator Lindume, all are outraged over the killings that happened over the weekend in Borno State.
Beijing, Moscow to Abuja, London to Kigali. The world is shifting fast. Elections are shaping destinies. Wars are redrawing borders. Economies are rising and falling. And global alliances are being tested like never before. But what does it all mean for you?
With a new administration and a new president in the White House trying to put an end to the war.
I didn't know the historical context, what the state of Israel means for them.
Join the fearless Ireti Bakare-Yusuf on Borderlines every Friday at 4 p.m. on Nigeria Info 99.3. As she dissects the biggest global events and their impact on world peace.
Those who are not familiar with Israel or the war itself would not know much about the group breaking the silence.
No spin, no propaganda, just deep insights and fearless conversations on the geopolitics shaping our world.
People who will call and start telling you about the Bible prophecy about America and everything. See, America is not in the Bible. There's some people who, yes, they share the ideology of, yes, we and these people, we are equal, but they can't speak up.
Borderlines on Nigeria Info every Friday at 4 p.m. The world is changing. Don't just watch, understand it. Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Good afternoon, Lagos, Nigeria, the diaspora, Israel, Palestine, London, wherever you're listening to us from. My name is Ireti Bakare-Yusuf. It's been an incredible, that's all I can say, and I'm not going to break it down. It's one of those things that happens where it's providence. We have two of the best Jewish Israeli guests you will ever find, and it happens to be the same day, on the same Friday, pretty much an hour after the incredible speech by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel. I don't have time to waste. I know you don't have time to waste. You will be able to call in at some point, when I open the lines, 0201-277-0993, 0201-465-7190. And you can send a WhatsApp to 0809-597-5805. I didn't do my first show this afternoon because I had to watch Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So my first guest, let me tell you, he's going to break it down like nobody else could. I can assure you of that. His name, not yet, let me tell you, he is uniquely placed to help us understand this moment. Notice what I said. He's a former officer in the Israeli Defense Force. He fought in Lebanon in 1978 and 1982 before leaving Israel, disillusioned by the occupation. Today, he is a senior lecturer in war studies at King's College London, the one I wished I had gone to, and one of the world's leading experts on the Arab-Israeli conflict. Of course, he's no other than Dr. Aaron Bregman. Welcome, Doctor. How are you?
I'm very well. The sun is shining. It stopped raining. So everything is okay in the United Kingdom at the moment.
Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So it's not too cold then?
Well, it is a bit chilly, but the sun is out. The flowers are blooming. So
great.
It is okay, yeah.
Great. Well, I'm presuming you watched. I mean, we didn't know this was going to happen when we booked your very valuable time to be here right now. But as Providence will have it, it has happened. You watched the speech by Prime Minister Netanyahu. What were your thoughts? Give us 2 minutes. Break it down. From the sublime to the ridiculous, if you can do it like that.
My first impression was that the hall was relatively empty because the moment he walked into the hall, many people, many delegates just walked out. So this was interesting to watch. The speech itself was very good because he's a very good public speaker. That's his strength. But I was disappointed, though not surprised, that, there was not a statement, something like, well, I'm going to announce a ceasefire today. It was not there. So the speech was good. The delivery was, as expected, excellent, but the message was very disappointing, and the war continues.
Indeed, the message was very disappointing, you say. Let me go back. The first thing you said was you were disappointed not to hear that he was, to hear about a ceasefire. For somebody of your experience and your knowledge, why would that disappoint you?
Well, it shows what we've seen for the last 2 years, that what Netanyahu wants is the war to continue. That's his goal. He is not interested in a ceasefire, and we could explain why. But I think that tactically, he is waiting for his meeting with Trump, which will happen, which will take place on Monday. And it's very much in Trump's hands. If he decides to say to Netanyahu, enough is enough, and my impression that he's becoming impatient with Netanyahu and Israel, this is my impression. So if Trump on Monday decides to say, that's it, you have to stop now, then Netanyahu will have to probably change his plans. For now, he's continuing with the war. And while we are here, speaking, discussing it in a very civilized way in the Gaza Strip, it is very messy and bloody.
So, you've said pretty much what everybody has said and has always said, that President Trump can put a stop to it. You also implied something in your response, that President Trump is possibly fed up. Am I correct? Why do you think that is? What do you think would make, because arguably you have, somebody like Trump who, is polarizing, to put it nicely, across the world. Also, amongst pro-Palestinian supporters, not voting for Kamala Harris, which doesn't necessarily mean supporting Trump. But some are saying, since you didn't support Kamala Harris because of what Biden did during, for what is now known as a genocide, that means that, well, you know what? You get Trump, and Trump is never going to support Palestine. Now, you're saying, or you've implied, that President Trump is really fed up. What has made him fed up? Is it that he's fed up with Israel? Is he fed up with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? Or he's just fed up because this is going to stop him from getting the Nobel Peace Prize, which we know is the shiniest gift that he's praying for?
Well, you put your finger, in your last sentence on the right thing, but there is something else. I have a lot of criticism. I can criticize Trump for many things, but one thing that Trump is different and very good at is sensing the instincts of public and people. He's very good at it. And I think that he realizes, and rightly so, that Israel, Netanyahu, lost the international public. I'm not even talking about leaders now, but the public. So if you take a country like Italy, for example, very close to Israel, if you take a country like Germany, very close to Israel, you can see that the public there is very much not Israel, but anti-Israeli actions in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank too.
Right.
And the West Bank too.
Absolutely.
We can talk about it. We can talk about in a minute. And the leaders of these European countries cannot just say, okay, our public, the public is against, but we will continue to support Israel. They cannot. So you can see a shift, even in Italy, even in Germany, and even in the United States. And Trump, with his very strong instincts, understands it. He understands it. Now, the second thing, and you referred to it, is that for Trump, and, we laugh at it sometimes, the Nobel Prize seems to be the most important thing that he wants to achieve, in his life or in his presidency. And it is understandable. And his little baby is a normalization which he managed to achieve between Israel and some other countries about 5 years ago, Bahrain, in other places, and Israel. He is concerned that if Israel continues to do whatever it is doing in the Gaza Strip, and if Israel, in response to the declaration of my Prime Minister here in the UK and the French president, and 140 countries, if they declared that they are going to recognize Palestine, the Israelis might react, for example, by annexing, by saying that some parts of the West Bank is going to be Israel. Trump is concerned that if Netanyahu is going to do that, Trump will lose the Abrams Accords, which he achieved 5 years ago. And this is not very good for his Nobel Prize aspirations.
Indeed. And we have heard, of course, you mentioned the Abraham Accord. One of the things we have heard is the likes of Saudi Arabia, who were one of the first to sign on to it, have said, look, it's in jeopardy. If you allow the West Bank, the annexation of the West Bank to go ahead, that's our red line, and the accord falls apart. Perhaps it's then a good time to talk about the Arabs. I would like you, without even asking a direct question, without actually framing the question, let me just ask you directly, Aaron. Qualify the behavior, the response, the actions of the Arab League, by extension, the Muslim countries for us.
You see, before the 7th October attack, before Hamas attacked Israel, the idea of a Palestinian state was off the table, and everyone was fine with it. So all of a sudden, it is on the table, and Muslim countries, I believe in Africa too, not only in the Middle East, are very strongly in favor of a Palestinian state now. So we have something new on the agenda, which was not there before the 7th of October. And this changed the scene, going back to Saudi Arabia, which was mentioned. Before the Hamas attack, 7th of October 2023, it seemed as if Saudi Arabia and Israel are going to sign a normalization agreement. All of a sudden, the Hamas attack on the 7th of October, the Israeli counterattack out of proportion to the and the Saudis are now saying, no, we cannot accept it. We have to do something about the Palestinian state, and many other Muslim countries are all of a sudden starting talking about it again. I hope that I answer your question, because I didn't hear your question very well.
You didn't qualify them, though. You analyzed what has happened and the history of it for us, but you haven't graded them, or shall I say, qualify them, their behavior, their response to what is now known as a genocide, Israel's response in Gaza to October 7th.
Very strong negative reaction to what's happening there. Again, the Arab leaders and Muslim leaders all over the world find it very difficult to explain it to the street, to their people, what's going on, and they cannot possibly support what's going on. And therefore, at the moment, there is a tsunami, diplomatic tsunami, hitting Israel very hard from Western countries, but also from Muslim countries with which Israel had very good relationship before. There are tensions all of a sudden. Israel and Egypt, for example. I heard today, people talking about possible war in the future. Ooh, what's that? And therefore, a very strong reaction from Muslim countries all over the world about what's happening in Gaza, which some people define as genocide.
Aaron, yes, indeed, the reaction, but lack of action. We've heard a lot of diplomatic condemnation, but what about the action? And could their actions have actually stopped, at the very least, stopped the humanitarian disaster with regards to getting aid, food, water, etc. in?
You see, reaction. For example, if we take Egypt could have said, okay, we are going to suspend the peace that we signed back in 1979, but this will be such a big move. And, it is sometimes difficult when you react to roll back. And therefore, you are absolutely right. What we hear is condemnations. We don't accept what you are doing, Israel. A more direct action, in fact, we can see more direct action in Western countries, in Europe, for example. Germany stopped selling engines to be used in Israeli tanks. That's a direct response. Slovenia yesterday banned Benjamin Netanyahu from entering the airspace of visiting the country. So we do see some direct action or response to what the Israelis are doing, but you were very specific in your question. In the Muslim world, what we see is more condemnations, words, than direct action. And if I may, we did have a direct response when Israel attacked Gaza. Hezbollah, for example, reacted. The ones who persist reacting directly to Israel are the Houthis in Yemen. And it is just, unbelievable. The Israelis bombed them massively. Yesterday, the Israelis attacked 65 targets in Yemen. But the Houthis persist. They are so stubborn. They keep sending their drones to Israel. And a couple of days ago, one drone landed in southern Israel in a place called Eilat, causing quite a lot of damage. So just to summarize, in answering your question, what we see in the Muslim world in reaction to what's happening in Gaza and the West Bank is words, etc. But in other parts of the world, Western Europe, we see direct response. Germany, Slovenia, and some other countries.
Indeed. Let's speak from your experience as a former IDF officer. So you served in the 1982 war with Lebanon and the 1970s, especially as a young man that you are. Tell us about the difference that you saw in the execution of the wars that you took part in and the war or the genocide that's going on in Gaza now. Is there a difference? And if the way the IDF, or at least the way Israel is implementing the war, and if there is a difference, what sort of difference do you see? Can you tell us?
That's a fantastic question. Really, really interesting one. The big difference that I see is in the mood of the troops, of the soldiers, of the pilots, where what guides them, as I see it, I might be wrong, is revenge. Revenge. This is something that I've never seen before. In other words, the attack of 7th of October on Israel, a horrific attack on the 7th of October. And, I renounce it and denounce it, but from Hamas' point of view, from a military point of view, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. 10 out of 10 what they've managed to do militarily. To cross a very sophisticated fence to reach the settlements. Then they lost control. So the attack on Israel shocked them so much. So what you see in the troops, which was not in us in 1982 in the Lebanon war, is the feeling, and I can see it, I listen to troops talking in Gaza, the feeling of revenge. We have to teach them a lesson for what they've done to us. Not only physically, they also humiliated us. And therefore, revenge, which explains a lot what we see in the Gaza Strip, the damage and the way the soldiers express themselves. So, revenge. And this really surprised me. It really surprised me.
Indeed. I think it surprised everybody. One of the things that we've learned in Israel's execution of the genocide in Gaza is the use of AI and drones. Of course, it's safe to say that didn't exist in your time. But what sort of, do you have an idea what sort of training Israel gives to the IDF officers? Because to those of us on the outside, it just seems like they send the drones and they just kill arbitrarily, irrespective of who lives there, whether they're just children, whether it's a school, indeed, even if it's a hospital or just a family house, given the way the Palestinian family structure is, they all live in one block, etc. Can you give us an insight into this kind of training that, if there is any training at all, that the officers get?
Yeah. You said that you want to come to the Department of War Studies. You don't have to come. You're fine. AI explains a lot of what we are seeing in Gaza, the amount of destruction. Let's just leave the question of training. Yes, of course, there is training. What AI enabled the Israelis to do, and will enable all of the armies in the world, is to collect many targets very quickly. Let me just explain it, because it is really interesting, I think. If you want to send an airplane to bomb somewhere, say in Gaza, you should give the airplane a target, a house. Now, in order to find where the house, who lives in the house, how big the house is, you need a soldier to sit down there and collect the information. And it takes time. Now you have this little machine, the AI, and you say to the AI, find me a house, 3 stories, a blue front, 2 trees, and the machine will find you 1,000 targets within a split of the minute, very, very, very quickly. And therefore, it enables militaries to bomb targets, a lot of targets, and to cause a lot of destruction, because they have many targets. In Gaza, there were so many targets produced by AI that Israeli airplanes had to park in the air, one after the other, to go and damage, to go and bomb, because they had all of a sudden so many targets. This is AI. AI changed the face of warfare. It is all, changing now. This explains why there is so much destruction in the Gaza Strip.
Indeed. I mean,
in addition,
go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
In addition to the fact that the soldiers are over motivated because this sense of revenge, and they have many targets. This is why we see so much damage in the Gaza Strip. AI is the future, a dark future, because there will be a lot of damage, because everything is done very quickly with the machine. And you have many soldiers in Israel trained to work with AI and collect all these targets.
Indeed. The recent figures that have been thrown around is something in excess of possibly 600,000 that have been killed in Gaza. We just, unfortunately, do not know the exact figure, but the official 69,000 upwards and over 150,000 injured, and several more under the rubble, a vast majority of which are children. Yeah, go ahead. You want to say?
Look, when the war started, I predicted that between 50 and 60,000 Gazans, Palestinians, will be killed. When I said it back in 2023, end of 2023, people look at me as if I'm a polar bear. They say not going to happen, unlikely. Now I would estimate that the number of people killed in the Gaza Strip will reach at least 100,000. At least 100,000. We've already reached more than 60,000. And there are thousands of people under the rubble, under the destruction, because 70% of Gaza is destroyed, and they don't have the heavy machinery to get the bodies out. So we are going to reach, I believe, at least 100,000 people killed in the Gaza Strip. Now, most of them, and this is the important point, are innocent people who are not involved. Why? Because the Israelis say we killed 20,000 terrorists, what they call terrorists, Hamas members, which means that we are talking about 80,000 innocent people who were killed. This is a massive number. And the tragedy of Gaza will be very visible for us for many, many years and generations. It's not going to disappear because there are many people who were injured there, young people. There are hundreds of orphans, children who lost their parents, father and mother. And there are many people who lost their limbs. And therefore it will be the scar, the memory of this war will go on for many years. It's a very long war. And when you have very long wars, there are many casualties. If you think about, just one more sentence.
Go ahead.
If you think about the 1967 war, when the Gaza Strip and the West Bank were occupied, it was all done in 2 days. There were very few casualties there because it was so quick. But now we have a war which is going for more than 700 days. This is a very long war, and there is an accumulation of injured people and dead people and people who will mentally be scarred for many, many years. Can you imagine 700 days to live in Gaza when you hear every night bombs landing not far from you? It will just drive you mad.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's a very, very tragic story. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about one of the things that I read out in your introduction was how you became disillusioned with the occupation. Now, you've argued that occupation corrodes both the occupier and the occupied. We've also then seen an Israel that's drifting into authoritarianism, isolation, tightening, censoring dissent, etc. Is what we're seeing the inevitable outcome of permanent occupation? That it eats away at the soul of the occupier as much as it crushes the occupied.
Yeah. Back in 1987, in December, the Palestinians on the West Bank and the Gaza Strip embarked on a big, what they call intifada. The first intifada, an uprising against the Israeli occupation. This is the winter of 1987. I was in Kathmandu, in Nepal, traveling on holiday. And I saw in a newspaper an Israeli soldier using the butt of his rifle hitting a Palestinian. I was shocked. And look, I had an experience of war at the time because I fought in 1982. Yeah. And it still shocked me, the personal meeting between an Israeli soldier and a Palestinian. And immediately after that, I sent a letter to Israel and said, I'm not going to serve in the occupied territories. I will not do that when I come back. And I when I returned to Israel after a year of traveling in the Far East, I left Israel. I said, I'm not going to be part of it because, as you said, it's not only about the occupied, it's also about the occupier. Can you imagine young Israelis aged 18 stopping women in checkpoints, women who could be their grandmothers, and searching their body or searching their bags? It destroys the soul of the young men. Therefore, you have hundreds and thousands of Israelis who spent the last years doing just that, breaking into houses of families, into the bedroom of Palestinians in the middle of the night to search under the bed. It's not only humiliating for the Palestinians who are in their pajamas or for the children, but also for the young man, who does this horrific thing. The Israeli occupation is very, very long. Started in 1967 and it's going on, and it's becoming even worse now, especially on the West Bank. I don't want to divert our very interesting discussion about Gaza, but the West Bank.
The West Bank. Let's talk about the West Bank. Yes, absolutely, please.
There are 3 million Palestinians there living under Israeli occupation since 1967. And while our attention, even, us, we're talking about Gaza so much, and rightly so. I'm not saying that it's the wrong thing, because a terrible war, a terrible, event is taking place there, but under the radar, what the Israelis do on the West Bank is equally bad. Because what you have on the West Bank is about 500,000 settlers, Jewish settlers, who built settlements, villages, big and small, on the West Bank. And they are taking advantage of the Gaza war, because our attention is on the Gaza war, and they are taking advantage of the fact that in the government there are settlers as ministers, never heard before. You have settlers who are ministers, and the settlers on the ground in the West Bank are taking advantage of this situation, and together with the military on the West Bank, they are harassing the Palestinians, putting pressure on villagers, so they will go, so they will leave. So the settlers could build more settlements. So it's terrible what's happening on the West Bank. And again, we keep focusing on the Gaza Strip, but terrible things are happening on the West Bank.
Well, you can't have a two-state solution without the West Bank and Gaza. They've got to be together, and perhaps it's a time for me to ask you that question, and I'm going to give you a minute to answer it. Given the expansion of the settlers and, the settlements, with a huge line across and Gaza on the other side, how do you get a two-state solution? How is that possible? Is it going to be a case of somehow, if it ever comes to it, you have to build a bridge that doesn't touch Israel? Because right now, to get to the West Bank from Gaza, you've got to get permission from Israel, because you're crossing zones. How is that possible? We speak of this two-state solution. People think it is easy. Those who really, really know that it is not easy. In fact, both options, which is the other option of a one-state solution, is also not easy. So how do we get the two-state solution that's been voted for overwhelmingly now? I'll give you a minute, because I've got a couple more questions before I open up the line.
Sure. We need 2 things for a two-state solution. It will not happen unless, number one, the Palestinians keep fighting for it. This is number one. They must fight for it. They will not get it on a silver platter. There is no chance, not in a million years, that the Israelis will volunteer to give the land. You see, it is against human nature to give so much. There is water on the West Bank. There is a sea of water under the West Bank. There are holy sites, and therefore the Israelis are not going to give it. They have to fight for it, a non-violent, a Gandhi Indian sort of fight. Can you imagine? I know that I have only 1 minute. Can you imagine the Palestinians getting out 3 million people in the morning, holding flowers and walking into the streets of the West Bank? This would be a powerful impact.
But that might be a beautiful picture, but we hear of the extreme violence and the impunity of the settlers. So how do 3,000 Palestinians with flowers, who historically have really only ever fought with stones, face those who have guns and knives, etc.?
That's very true, but this is the one condition. I said there are going to be two. The other one is international pressure on Israel. International pressure. And we can see now the diplomatic, cultural, economic tsunami that hits Israel. Wow, every day we hear something new. You know, you Israelis are not going to sing in the Eurovision next year. Microsoft stopped operating in Israel. Prime Minister cannot go to Slovenia, etc. And that was a combination of these two things. Palestinians having a non-violent intifada, and the international community putting pressure, and there is a good chance that we will go in the direction of a Palestinian state, which is also in the interest of Israel, but I will not go into it.
They've started calling. I've still got questions for you. I will not cheat my listeners because this is a very important, special and historic day. Right, you all get 30 seconds. Please you only get one question each. Please do not get carried away. I don't have the time today, sorry. Oh, you can call back. Right. Oh, they already started calling. Here we go. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Yogi.
Yes, good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
This is Collins from Begleki.
Okay, Collins, you have one question, 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yes, please. Growing up, when I was hearing about Israeli-Palestinian conflict, I did hear of Gaza, West Bank, Golan Heights, and East Jerusalem. So recently, I've not been hearing anything about Golan Heights and East Jerusalem, which are contentious areas. Please let him educate me. Let me hear about them.
Thank you. That's a great question. He said, whilst he was growing up, that's Collins from Lekki. He said, whilst he was growing up, he used to hear about the Golan Heights and I think Jerusalem. So he'd like you to comment to that because we're not hearing much about that. But hold on, write that down, Doc. I will be with you in a second. Let me take another question. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sisiogi.
Good afternoon, Emmanuel.
Yeah, so my question to your guest is, I, Emmanuel, when I see a Jew who is thirsty, I want to take a cup of water. There's this kind of restraint, that will come into me because of things I've seen so far. And what will be the advice of your guest? Because this has painted all Jews, in one color.
Okay.
What would be the advice of your guest to persons like me?
For an ordinary person like you.
Aware of everything that is happening.
Thank you very much. That's Emmanuel. He's one of our regular callers and he's been incredibly honest. What he said was Emmanuel, now, because of what's happened in Gaza, when he sees a Jew who asks him for a cup of water, he will hesitate to give them that cup of water. And what would you advise that ordinary people like Emmanuel, I guess, who are just reacting to human emotion, to the murders or to the deaths in Gaza, what would you advise them to do, or how would you advise them to handle it? Let me take one more and then I will let you answer. Doc, this is the speed round. If you call now, because I was going to give Dr. 3, here you go. Right, hello. Hello. Do we have any questions there? Hello. Yes.
Hello.
Turn up. Yes. Go to a quiet area, please. Yes. Yes.
This is Dalamasi from Sulere.
Go ahead, Pastor.
I love your guest. He's a Jew.
Yeah.
And his advice about the Gandhi-styled protest, that is Gandhi.
Yeah, we need 30 seconds, Pastor, but I must see, we only need a question.
How will he suggest that? How will he suggest that kind of passive resistance?
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Thank you. Right, Doc, I'm going to give you... Can you do those 3 questions in a minute and a half? Aaron, can you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Jerusalem. In the future, hopefully there will be a Palestinian state. They will insist on East Jerusalem, El-Quds, Arab East Jerusalem, to be the capital. I believe that Jerusalem could be divided between Israel and the Palestinians. And there was a summit, Camp David summit, where they looked into it. I think that the future is division of Jerusalem, Golan Heights. Israel occupied the Golan Heights in 1967. If Israel wants a peace with the Syrians will insist on having the Golan Heights back. It will be relatively easy to return the Golan Heights because the settlers on the Golan Heights are not religious.
Right.
They are secular who are there mainly because they can produce very good wine on the Golan Heights.
Okay.
About Jews, about water, this was an interesting one. The war in Gaza caused a massive damage to Jewish communities throughout the world. And I can see it in London. What's happening in London. I believe that when we get the ceasefire very soon, inshallah, things will calm down and Jewish and non-Jewish relationship will be improved. Passive resistance.
Yeah.
If the Palestinians go into violent resistance as they did during the second Intifada from 2005, the Israelis will take advantage of it and hit back very hard. If the Palestinians send suicide bombers or do such attacks, the Israelis will convince the world that the only way to deal with it is with tanks and bombers. Therefore, my advice to the Palestinians, number 1, you have to resist. Number 2, do it a passive resistance. This is your best chance.
Excellent. Right, you can call now. I couldn't answer your call because I didn't want to interrupt our guest. I'm coming to your calls. Short, sharp, please, succinct. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good evening. Emmanuel from Lagos.
Go ahead, Mano. Your question.
Yeah, I want to find out. What I heard was that this whole conflict started way back, thousands of years way back when Islamic jihadists took over the Jewish land. How true is this?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Manu. Right. That's okay. That one. Did you get that question, Aaron? He was asking about, yes. Okay. Hello.
Good afternoon, Cecile.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
Yeah. Femi from Elegushi.
Go ahead, Femi.
I have a question for your guest.
Go ahead.
When there was a peace talk for ceasefire.
Oslo, yes, or this recent one?
Israel, yes. Before this one. There was
Oslo.
A talk,
Oslo.
Yes. Ceasefire. Israel stopped the ceasefire. What happens that the Hamas still went on because I discovered that Israel stopped.
Sorry, are you hold on?
Not to stop.
Hold on, are you talking about the ceasefire in this current Gaza genocide? Or are you talking about... Yes. Okay, all right. You heard that Israel stopped with the ceasefire, but Hamas carried on.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Carried on. And the whole world heard about it. So whatever Israel to do now, why do they not consider the first ceasefire?
Okay, thank you. Right, okay. And I'll take one more. I'll let you correct that notion. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon. Very quickly.
Good afternoon, but I must be back. I want to know what it's like a proxy war now. America.
I need a question, sir. There is no time.
How do you remove America from this proxy war thing?
Okay, all right. Okay, how do you remove America from the equation? Right. Okay. The question is, how do you remove America from the equation? The last call I'm going to take, so you can answer. Hello.
Yeah. Good evening, Cecilia.
Good evening.
Maduka from Festac.
Go ahead,
Maduka. From Festac. Yeah. I just want to ask. Your guest rightly said that the occupation, the war, the genocide, the humiliation, everything have messed up the minds of the young, both young Israelis and young Palestinians.
Yeah.
These are the future. These are the future.
Yeah.
One state, two state, whatever solution. Will it work with this thing with the minds messed up?
Excellent question. Thank you.
What is the likely solution? Thank you.
I understand. Right. So his question is even if you have a two-state solution, given the damage on both sides, especially what you said about the occupier and the occupied, how the whole occupation damages everybody, will the two-state solution actually work? Right. Doc, Aaron, I'm going to give you 2 minutes for all of those. I know you can do it. We don't have time.
I'll just raise your hand when I have to stop.
Okay.
I'll start with the last one because I remember it. The two-state solution is the only way forward because you have to separate them. Separation is good. You have a wall or you have a border, and after 100 years, which is nothing in history, you get rid of the wall and they can live together. It's like France and Germany. You know, when I traveled there many, many years ago, I had to show my passport crossing from Germany to France. Now you don't have to do it anyway. And therefore the solution is separation. You let the two countries develop their own life, etc. And then you remove the separation. That's the only one. About America, you cannot remove America from the equation. The Israelis will insist on the Americans to be involved. The Israelis don't trust the Europeans, especially the French. The Israelis don't want the Europeans involved. The Israelis don't trust the United Nations. Do you know why, if I may? Until the 1960s, the Israelis trust the United Nations. The United Nations offered the land to Israel in 1948. But in the 1960s, many African countries joined the United Nations because of independence. You know about it better than me. Now, many of them are Muslim, and therefore there was automatic a vote
shift
for the... it shifted, and therefore the Israelis don't trust the Europeans, they don't trust the United Nations, and they trust the Americans. And therefore it is unlikely that Americans will get out of the equation. About the first question, it is really important to remember that the Israeli-Palestinian, Israeli-Arab conflict is not a religious conflict. It is a secular conflict. It's about territory, West Bank, Gaza, Israel, etc. It is a territorial conflict with religious elements in it. Jerusalem, etc. I hope that I answered this question. Yeah, and the one about the ceasefire I didn't get. If you remember it, or if you...
he said that there was a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, and then that he heard that Hamas broke the ceasefire. First of all, we need you to...
I just want to correct him. The ones who broke the ceasefire were the Israelis, in fact.
Thank you.
Because Netanyahu was not interested in a ceasefire. He got some of the hostages back, and then he broke the ceasefire. They were supposed to restart negotiations of ceasefire, but he broke the ceasefire and went into Gaza.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aaron. They're telling me I've got to go. My next guest is waiting, but I know it's gone so fast.
Really?
But you've got to come back, Doc. You have to come back.
I must say that I was very excited when I heard that I was asked to give an interview to Nigerian radio, because this is my first ever interview done in Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Well, we've enjoyed having you. Like I said, you're coming back whether you like it or not now. Have a superb weekend.
More talk, more.
All the best. Bye bye. Thank you.
That special secret that awakens taste buds. Mouth-watering wonder with awesome aroma. Terra seasoning cubes.
Terra seasoning cube turns your meals into a masterpiece.
Unwrap joy, unleash taste. Hey, come cook with Terra cubes. Come cook with Terra.
Okay, sandwich, fruit, and water. The new 33cl Nestle Pure Life Premium Drinking Water. Handy size for my little ones. No more half-finished bottles coming back home. The new 33cl bottle. Big enough to refresh, small enough to finish. And thanks to our trusted 13-step quality process, every drop is refreshingly safe. Nestle Pure Life Premium Drinking Water. Source of hydration you can trust.
As a mom and a dentist, I know the importance of strong teeth, beautiful white smile, and fresh breath. They give you the confidence to eat the right foods without worry, speak confidently in public, and making friends is easier when you know you have fresh breath. I give my family confidence with Pepsodent Triple Protection 1-2-3. It's 3 toothpaste in 1 to protect their teeth from holes, give them white teeth, and fresh breath. The confidence of 3 toothpaste in 1. Pepsodent Triple Protection 1-2-3.
Good tasty food is worth living for. Worried about your oil every time you enjoy your favorite meal? Introducing Golden Terra Smart Balance Oil. Smart Balance Rice Bran Oil is rich in gamma oryzanol. Several studies suggest that gamma oryzanol may contribute to the reduction of bad cholesterol. Golden Terra Smart Balance Oil. Good food, no worries.
Now everybody they dream, but now the people where they move, now them progress they commit. Now them they show up every day for the life with them they build. Now pay deal and the last on they enter and you sabi discipline yourself. Money don't stand that give it up for your big goals. Stay before you start to post your soft life. Because for every small step where you take forward, that's now win. And with us, you no go ever day alone. Download Money Point app today.
Money Point, made for your progress.
Naija, brace yourself. BB Naija Season 10 is here. And this time, there are no zeros, only 10s. 10 times the drama, 10 times the goals, 10 times the action. And Super Commando is turning the hit to the max with nothing but energy. That means 10 times the energy.
Ready to fire on this BB Naija season? Grab a bottle of Super Commando energy drink. It's nothing but energy. Super Commando, fire on.
Lagos, are you ready? Power Oil Walk Hot On is back. Come be part of the unmissable Hot Healthy Walk of the Year in commemoration of the World Heart Day. Venue, the Staples Center, Bodetama Surulere. Date, September 27, 2025. Time, 6 a.m. Guest artist, DJ Titanium and Terry G. Together, let's walk and certify ourselves fit and get our hearts healthy. Power Oil Walk Hot On. Don't miss a bit.
Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet of Cerelac Junior comes with the nutrition they need: natural grains, protein, and iron to support their physical growth, learning, and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
Start your day and have a good time.
Kivo Creamer.
And where you need to have the break time.
Kivo Creamer.
It's not tea or garita.
Kivo Creamer. Kivo Creamer.
Mom's love is pure. It's so no cheetah. Mom's special jollof. It's a smile on your face. Mom's yummy fried. Cheese you.
her love in the tasty, nourishing meals she cooks for her family. Golden Terra Oil, pour pure love.
Welcome back to your
Real voices, real stories, real news.
Again, armed herders invade Benue community.
Insecurity will still continue if nothing is done to security retirees who are retired.
You as a government body. Yeah, but you as a government body, you have a responsibility.
Chapman is tackling Dangote for slashing those petrol prices.
We're the ones that have been involved in the fuel subsidy. Now again, they don't want us to have peace.
Inflation in Nigeria drops by 5th month in a row.
Local communities in Katsina State have reportedly entered into negotiations with armed groups.
The president has decided he no longer wants to rest. Is that emergency in Nigeria?
This is 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's. It's 5 o'clock.
The news update on 99.3. The headline news on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Lagos, here are some of the headlines we're tracking at this time on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Rashidi Ladoja has been crowned the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land in a colourful ceremony at Makbo Hall. President Tinubu and top traditional rulers joined dignitaries as Governor Seyi Makinde presented Ladoja with the staff of office. The Federal High Court has ordered the Nigerian Medical Association to assess IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu's health and fitness to stand trial. And FAN says from September 29, cash payment will be phased out at Lagos and Abuja airports, starting with access gates and car parks. Wazobia FM is marking World Health Day with a special heart waka in Ajegule tomorrow morning with celebrities billed to join. A medical expert is warning of rising strokes and heart attacks among Nigerians living with diabetes. Nigeria has launched new guidelines for diabetes care as experts warn that brain drain is undermining health delivery. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has told the UN General Assembly that recognizing a Palestinian state is sheer madness. And finally, former Nigerian UN Ambassador Professor Ibrahim Gambari says Nigeria has led Africa's push for a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. That's all for the news. I am Buluwatife. Jagade Borderlines with Ireti Bakare-Yusuf continues.
Our website, nigeriainfo.fm, is a trusted platform for more intellectual, trending, and exclusive stories with up-to-date analysis. We are not just the talk station of the nation. We are your number one talk station. Join the league of fans consuming great news at www.nigeriainfo.fm and get rewarded for your time. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. Above and beyond borders. It's Borderline
with Ireti Bakare-Yusuf.
Welcome back to Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders. Yes, you heard my first guest. I told you today, or did I not say, we have an all-Jewish Israeli guest list. It's an absolute honor. My next guest, well, how can I describe him? I don't know how I'm going to describe him, but because we don't have much time, I'm just going to tell you that he's a political scientist and historian of international relations. He works with bridges ideologies and realpolitik. His research traces out the legacy of Zionism, and the forces of empire continue to shape Israeli statecraft and regional geopolitics. His name is Shael Ben Ephraim. Did I pronounce it correctly?
You did. I'm amazed. No one ever pronounces my name right.
Well,
I'm so impressed.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shael. Well, my name is Ireti. I don't expect you to actually learn it right now. But it's a pleasure to have you. Welcome to Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to Borderlines, albeit digitally.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Before we go ahead, it's been an incredible afternoon when we booked for your very precious time. We didn't know this was going to happen. We didn't know Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was going to be giving a speech an hour, 2 hours ago now or so. I'd like you to break that down for us. What are your thoughts? What did you make of what he said? Even if I may say so, the theatrics, the one on the lapel, the pictures and everything, and, the whole scene when, that sort of 45, 50-minute speech that he made. Break it down for us.
Well, I feel like Netanyahu was a very good spokesperson for the 90s and the 2000s. And knew how to navigate the media landscape at that time. But now it all feels very antiquated, doesn't it? It looks like a very old dog and pony show that we've seen before with props and cards and all these sorts of things and catchphrases. And I think that the world has really moved on from that and has left Netanyahu behind. And I think that rather than the actual content of the speech, what the world is going to remember from this, and most speeches in the UN are not remembered, and this one will be remembered, are two pictures. One picture is of the people walking out of the hall. The vast majority of the representatives in the UN General Assembly walked out of the hall, including many of the more Western countries, and that's new. The other picture that will be remembered, and this might be remembered more in Israel, are the pictures of the loudspeakers that he placed in Gaza to empty buildings to have them listen to his speech. I mean, no one else wanted to listen, so the empty buildings in Gaza were destroyed buildings in Gaza were made to listen. As for the speech itself, there was nothing new in it. It's all things that we've heard before. Israel is a victim of terrorism, he says. The whole world has to stand up to the same terrorism that Israel stands up to, he says. And Israel needs to finish the job in Gaza, he says. Totally ignoring the developments moving towards a ceasefire now. It was basically almost confrontational to Donald Trump, who just yesterday said that there has to be movement towards a ceasefire. So there was no conciliatory tone there at all towards Netanyahu, towards Trump and his demands for a ceasefire. So it became pretty clear, not that I had any doubts, but pretty clear that he's going to continue full steam ahead in Gaza, even if Trump is willing to take some risks in order to stop him. He's daring Trump to actually stop him. So those are the headlines. And I feel like on a substantive level and on an oral level, the speech fell flat because Netanyahu is really not changing his game. But the world's not receptive to his message anyway. So at some level, it doesn't matter.
Oh dear, he's not going to like you very much, is he now, Ben?
He's not a fan.
So you mentioned something, and I find that quite interesting when you say, it's almost like he's discarding what Donald Trump has said. What do you think is going on between them? Because some have said, again, I asked my previous guest this earlier, it seems like Donald Trump is fed up. He's like, look, I'm done. Just stop this war. Otherwise, you're going to stop me from winning my my shining Nobel Peace Prize. Or, is there something a lot more going on? I mean, is this AIPAC? What is it? Break it down for us. How does a Netanyahu is able to stand up to Trump and pretty much embarrass him on that stage?
Well, I think one of the problems with the way we analyze Trump, all of us, is we're intelligent people, we're foreign policy analysts, we try to look for policy and logic, and Trump is not a logical, policy-oriented person. Trump on domestic policy is fairly consistent. Tariffs, immigration, so on and so forth. On foreign policy, he changes his tune every single day. If you look at Ukraine, that's the most glaring example. One day he's very pro-Zelensky. One day he's pro-Putin. One day he's somewhere in between. And there's a lot of that with Israel. It seems that Netanyahu, and he listens to whoever he talked to last, and that sticks with him for a while. So what happened the other day when Trump was saying there needs to be a ceasefire is he just talked to all the Arab leaders. And the Arab leaders made a compelling case, I guess, and he was influenced by them. But now Netanyahu is going to make his case, and Netanyahu's supporters in his administration will make their case. And he will say something different in a couple of days. That's at least what Netanyahu is banking on. It doesn't look to me like the Arab leaders have been able to put sustained pressure on Trump, even though they have a lot of influence on him, which, by the way, raises the suspicion that they're not trying all that hard, the Arab leaders. I don't know what amount of pressure is coming there. The fact that he talked to them and then changed his tune, it shows me that Israel is probably managing day to day to get their voice in his ear more. And we know who's vocalizing the Israeli case in Trump's ear every day. Marco Rubio being the chief one. He's the national security advisor and Secretary of State, which makes him, at least technically, the most powerful person in American foreign policy since Henry Kissinger. And he touts the Netanyahu line over and over again. So I think he's hearing Marco Rubio. He's hearing people like that. I don't think Vance and Hegseth, who are more cold towards Israel, are as consistently putting their philosophy ahead, or maybe they don't even have a very clear philosophy on the Middle East. So he's getting the Israeli vision more often. Also, Trump grew up in a different world, in a New York that was very pro-Israel with a lot of Jewish business people, and is used to thinking of supporting Israel is good politically. You can see that in other older gentlemen from New York, like Eric Adams and so on and so forth, while the younger people really don't feel that way. So you have this combination of factors. AIPAC doesn't have too much influence on presidents. They're a congressional lobby group, and they're also losing a lot of their influence. It really looks to me like Trump is maybe the last sort of president who grew up in that very pro-Israel atmosphere, and it sticks with him. Then he also has a Jewish family. You can't forget. You have Jared Kushner, and you have his daughter who converted to Orthodox Judaism, and you have all this stuff. So there's a lot of day-to-day pressure on Trump, and he changes his mind according to who he talked to last. More often, he talked last to someone who supports Israel.
So is it right then when people say Donald Trump is, or at least America is the only country that can put a stop to this? And right now, that America is Donald Trump's America. Donald Trump is the only one that can put a stop to this. So when Donald Trump says, I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank, do we believe him? Do we not believe him? Do we think it's what he heard in the morning? Therefore, we're now in the next 24 hours later. Perhaps it doesn't mean that anymore. How do we understand? How do we even, I don't even know what to put. I'm trying to be polite, by the way, Shia.
Yes, you're being very polite, much more polite than any of these people deserve, in my opinion. But regarding the annexation, I think, like you said, he's mercurial and we don't know. But I think it's a pretty good bet that regarding annexation, Netanyahu will be stopped. And the main reason for that is because he's not that invested in actual physical annexation. Because Israel is getting the benefits of annexing the West Bank every day, assuming you consider those benefits. I don't, but they do, without paying the price of official annexation, right? There's creeping annexation. Creeping annexation doesn't even cut it anymore. Basically, there's already official annexation of the West Bank by Israel. Israel's done it all, except for announce it. So they're enjoying the benefits of control, but they're not getting all the backlash that comes with it internationally. I think that's pretty comfortable for Netanyahu. The reason he's pursuing annexation is because Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir, his coalition partners, want him to, and he's hesitantly doing it. If he can say to them, listen, I can't do it, the price is too high, they'll probably accept it. Meanwhile, where he's not going to accept Trump telling him what to do is the ceasefire. His entire political survival depends on this continued quote-unquote war on Hamas, which is actually a war of extermination of the Palestinian people. And if he stops it, he's going to face increasingly severe domestic consequences. So it's very untenable for him to listen to Trump on this matter. So a very clear and easy deal for Netanyahu to make is to say to Trump, I'll stop annexation, but I need to continue fighting Hamas and keep saying, don't worry, I'll be done in a month, I'll be done in 2 months, lying until he gets through to the next elections. So I think that's sort of the obvious
So what happens if the world, which it seems is what we have right now, the world has sent, at least the vast majority of the members of United Nations, they've said, look, we want a two-state solution, number one. Number two, we all want the war to stop. And now we have President Trump's 21-step plan. Today, Benjamin Netanyahu says, no, I'm not stopping. Does he get to get away with that? Does he get to say, I'm not stopping, and he doesn't stop? Or will this coalition army go in there, a military coalition, perhaps it's peacekeeping or whatever, go in there to stop them? There's talk of the former UK PM as well. Forget his name now. Tony Blair.
Tony Blair, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, nothing can happen without Israeli approval. And Israeli approval is very difficult to achieve. So if it's up to Netanyahu, the talks won't even become serious. If he's under enough pressure, and has to be pressure from Trump, he will enter talks on all these things. But Netanyahu is a master at having talks that go nowhere, at putting in conditions in the last minute that torpedo talks, and doing everything that he can to blame the other side. And there's enough people in Trump's circle, and Trump himself are willing to blame the other side, that he gets away with it. And he will play that game relentlessly for time until he gets past the next elections. So it's very easy for him to just play the game to Trump's not satisfaction, but to prevent the wrath of Trump. As for an international coalition, look, let's be frank. The international community is very bad at preventing genocides or stopping genocides. To say that the international community doesn't have a spine is being charitable. And I don't believe that these, admirable moves from Spain and Italy and so on are going to amount to very much. I think that even if Israel were to sink a Spanish ship, which it probably won't, there's not much that Spain can do. Israel will say that it was defending its sovereignty or whatever, and I don't think other countries are going to do all that much. What will happen is sanctions will ratchet up a little bit. Israel's about to face two very painful things from its perspective socially. It's going to be kicked out of the Eurovision song competition, and it's going to be kicked out of the UEFA football association.
Do you think that's actually going to happen? Because the Americans or President Trump is saying we're not going to let it. We're not going to let them.
I think it's
a fait accompli.
I think it's a fate. From what I'm hearing from Israeli sources, by the way, they don't think that they're going to be able to prevent it. Basically, what happens is if UEFA and the Eurovision allow Israel to participate, several key members are going to boycott their events. Spain, Ireland, so on and so forth. These events can't exist without those countries. Imagine UEFA World Cup qualifiers without Spain. There's no such thing. Spain is one of the best teams in the world. Imagine them without Italy. No such thing. Israel, listen, I was an Israel supporter my whole life. Israel's terrible. Israel hasn't qualified for the World Cup since 1970. No one cares. Eurovision Israel is quite important, but not as important as several Western European nations. And that's why it's not going to matter. And what's Trump going to do? He's going to boycott the Eurovision? He has a little bit more say in UEFA, but not much. I don't see it. Remember, he also tried to stop the ICC warrants. He did not. He's also going to try to stop the ICJ from ruling that what Israel is doing in Gaza is a genocide, probably unsuccessfully. There's a limit to what Trump's bullying can do, and that's a very painful moment for Israel. But the actual sanctions that Israel needs to face in order for it to stop, which are trade sanctions, full trade sanctions from the EU, those are not forthcoming. Those are not going to happen for a long time, and Israel's just going to continue to do what it's doing. Netanyahu has long ago stopped caring about Israel's image in the world and is banking on just getting by month by month and staying in power.
Incredible. So let's talk about you. Of course, you're an academic. We know you're an academic, but recently you had a turning point. I saw your interview or your conversation with the very direct and very left Owen Jones of the UK. Yes, you're laughing already, Shael. And yeah, so how did that turn around? I mean, what you said is, you've said right now, even on this during this interview, that Israel is pretty much committing genocide. How did you get to that point? Because I think it's a moral journey that a lot of people has had to go on, and accepting and coming out to admit such a thing, especially as a Jewish person, as an Israeli Jew, as an American Israeli Jew, all of that matters. How? Tell us.
Well, I think that my being Israeli and having served in the IDF and so on.
And I want to ask you about that later. Yes, that's my next question, IDF.
Yeah. Actually played a significant role in my realization. So I've never been. I've always been fairly left. I've always been fairly liberal, but I was some would say fanatical supporter of the state of Israel my whole life. My family was very Zionist. My mother left the United States to come live in Israel because she believed in Zionism so deeply, and that's why when October 7th happened, I, rallied to the cause. I worked with the government on several projects. I did pro-Israeli information on social media and so on and so forth, believing that Israel had a right to defend itself after the atrocities of October 7th. I spent a lot of time fostering and cultivating sources I had in the IDF and in the Israeli government during that time, to bring up to the minute news to my followers and so on and so forth. And when the scandal broke about Israeli torture in the camps in Sde Teiman, I talked to a lot of my sources about what was going on there. They denied it. Later on, I found incontrovertible proof that not only was Israel torturing detainees, but Israel was also murdering detainees and other atrocities. I won't even.
Well, there were some of them were raped, and yes, you can say it because it's those of us who follow the news. That's the notorious prison in Israel. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Torture camp, sexual violations, murders, everything you can imagine happened there, and it's still happening there. It hasn't been closed. And eventually my sources told me, listen, we were lying to you. We're lying to everyone. We're sorry. This is war. What are you going to do? People lie in war. That already made me start to question some things, to put it mildly. Then a few months later, I was talking to an individual who's in charge of targeting in the IDF, in Israeli intelligence, part of the squad that's responsible for targeting, I should say. And they were telling me, matter of fact, that they're looking for fresh sources of water to destroy them. When I was in the IDF went out of its way to avoid fresh sources of water because those were considered to be non-military targets. And I started seeing that all this time I was believing Israeli accounts because I was raised to believe that the IDF tells the truth, that Israel tells the truth, and that Palestinians lie about all these things and are manipulating the entire world. Meanwhile, on case after case, on thing after thing, it was becoming clear to me that Israel was lying, Palestinians were telling the truth, and that what Israel was doing, as someone who, I have a PhD in military strategy, I served in the army, it became very clear to me that what Israel was doing couldn't even theoretically defeat Hamas, right? Israel's not taking over all the territory in Gaza. Israel's leaving a lot of the territory. They're open to Hamas, so that Hamas will continue to fire and Hamas will continue to kill Israeli soldiers, but they'll have an excuse to continue to kill Palestinian civilians. That doesn't make any sense on a military level, but it makes sense on a political justification for genocide level. And once you start understanding that that's what Israel's doing, everything Israel does starts to make sense. The destruction of all the houses, the destruction of hospitals, destruction of water supplies, starvation of people to death. By the time Israel was starving people to death, I was already convinced it was a genocide. But that made it even clearer. You see children starving to death. You see people being shot to death while trying to gather aid. The only way not to believe that this is a genocide is if you believe, like I did, if you're raised to believe that Palestinians lie about everything and Israelis tell the truth about everything. And I just saw the facts in front of me, and part of it's thanks to my Israeli sources, that is simply not the case. Israel is going out of its way to kill Palestinian civilians and trying to empty Gaza of all of its inhabitants in order to control Gaza and build settlements there, and so on and so forth.
Thank you for that. And I've got to ask then, how do you reconcile that with being clearly a proud Jewish man, Jewish Israeli man, proud of your heritage, but also supporting Zionism, which, I'll be honest with you, a lot of us would say Zionism is the problem, not Judaism. So how do you reconcile all of that?
I honestly don't consider myself a Zionist anymore.
Okay.
I am and I'm not. I mean, if you look in the dictionary, the definition of Zionism is that you believe that Jews deserve to have a home in the land of Israel. And I have no problem with that as long as the rights of Palestinians are respected, as long as Palestinians can have a state, as long as Palestinians can have equal rights. But Zionism in practice is something completely different. You know, we're used to thinking about communism. There's what Karl Marx wrote in a book, and there's what actually happened in the USSR, right? One was a kind of utopia, and one was a nightmare. And Zionism is not that different. So you have the definition. It seems very fair. It seems very, very reasonable when you read it in a book. But in reality, Zionism is a movement that has done nothing but repress the Palestinians, take their land, and is built on a original sin of the Nakba, of taking land away and the homes away from Palestinians. And the logical conclusion of that is genocide. And that's something that I did not realize or I was repressing until recently. You start understanding that the fact that genocide occurred now isn't because of circumstances necessarily. It's a natural progression of the ideology. If October 7th hadn't happened, it probably wouldn't be happening now at this level. But it would be happening at a lower level. It would be happening at a pretty high level from this government, and not quite at this level. It eventually has to happen. And why? Because the ideology has turned into a numbers game, a demographics game. You have to keep Jews as the majority between the river and the sea. And since you can't do that organically, since the Palestinian population reproduces at a higher rate and the Jewish population at less of a high rate, you have to do it artificially. That involves either ethnic cleansing or genocide or a combination of the two. Or at best, apartheid and not allowing people to vote, which is untenable. That tends to lead to genocide and ethnic cleansing. And a lot of this is because, Zionism leads to opposition to it. When you treat people like this, they will fight back. And then that leads to more extremism and violence. It's basically an inevitable result of the fact that you have an ideology that's built on enforcing a demographic majority. And so that's why I don't consider myself a Zionist anymore, because I don't believe in enforcing a demographic majority. I believe that Jews should be able to live in Israel, and I believe that Palestinians should be able to live in Israel, and I believe that Jews should be able to return to their homes just like they always have, and so should Palestinians, and that it should be a free and open society.
So you're a one-state solution person.
That's right. Or, federation within one state, whatever, as long as no one is oppressing anyone else. That's my concern. And I feel like you can't be part of this Zionist movement without wanting to oppress Palestinians. There's a reason that I was treated as an outcast for a long time when I wanted Palestinians to have a state in the movement. And there's a reason why even supposedly liberal Zionists are up in arms at the idea of the world recognizing a Palestinian state. The two-state solution isn't at all the goal of Zionism anymore. There's 100% almost consensus and agreement on enforcing occupation, on the Palestinians. And that's not a coincidence. That's the end result of being willing to enforce a demographic majority at all costs.
Incredible. I'm telling you, a lot of my listeners are like, oh, I can almost hear them. And the lines will start ringing, but I'm not going to open the lines yet. Let's talk about it, because it's interesting that you mentioned Zionism, and in Nigeria, indeed, across a lot of countries in Africa, DRC, South Africa, you name it, there are a lot of Christian Zionists in Nigeria too. And what you often hear is, we have to support Israel because God told us so in the Bible. And therefore, they must support Zionism because Zionism is Israel. What you've done right now, Shael, unintentionally, is to say to them, no, silly, that's not it. You're laughing. That's literally what you've done. You've shattered all their beliefs, and, they're all probably trying to sharply break their cars right now. As a young man that went into the IDF, how do you think that shapes? Because, like I said, I had Aaron Bergman just earlier on, just before you, and he talked about something. He talked about how occupation damages the occupier and the occupied. Then now I'm thinking, okay, the IDF, every single Israeli has to go into the IDF, is part of your national responsibility. And that's how Israel co-opts young minds into supporting. How do you negotiate with that? How do you become free of that? And when you served in the IDF, what were the things that you saw that you found most disturbing?
Well, at that time, Israel was also, as it often is, at war or in conflict. This was the second Intifada time. And at that point, I was 100% convinced in the justification of everything that Israel was doing. And it didn't take a lot of convincing on my part. First of all, I grew up in a very Zionist home. But second of all, I grew up in the 90s. I'm not as young as I look. And at that time, there was a peace process, and we were all very optimistic. My mother wasn't particularly, but I was, and a lot of other people were. And then Hamas, same old Hamas, started blowing up buses in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So I grew up in the German colony, and the buses from the German colony that went to downtown, the 14 bus, the 18 bus, were blown up by Hamas on several occasions. I knew more than one person who was on those buses, and I rode those buses sometimes on the same day, not on the same bus. Later on, when I was in the army, bless you. While I was in the army, I saw a horrific bombing in downtown Jerusalem where several people were killed. I was fine, but I saw people get killed. When I went to university after the army, same thing. My university cafeteria was blown up. All that by Hamas. So I viewed Hamas my whole life as the enemy. And when Israel was reacting against them, from my perspective, reacting in the Second Intifada, I thought it was the duty of Israel to defend itself against these terror attacks. At the time, also, Israel took many more precautions than it does now to protect the lives of Palestinians. I now realize a lot of those measures at the time were window dressing and weren't really doing much to save the lives of Palestinians. But I didn't see it there that way at the time. What I saw, and most of my colleagues believe this as well, was that we were fighting a justified war of self-defense against Palestinian terrorism and taking measures, sometimes too many measures. I think that generally most people thought that. That's one of the reasons there's less measures now. Too many measures to protect them, sometimes at the expense of our soldiers. Now, I was in intelligence, so I didn't pull any triggers directly, but I did, of course, see that targets were not always chosen discriminately, that there was very little regret when quote-unquote collateral damage ensued, and so on and so forth. I would say that at the time when I was in the IDF, the Army followed international law more or less on the most permissive side, sort of causing as much damage to Palestinian civilians as you can while still claiming to respect international law. And even though my job at the time was related to keeping international law, international law wasn't explained to me anywhere near as well as it should have been, and anywhere near as detailed a manner as it should have been. Long story short, when civilians were killed, I don't think the measures taken by the IDF were anywhere near what they should have been. But at the time, I was convinced that Palestinians didn't even deserve it. They were so busy trying to kill us, and we were doing them a favor by taking any precautions in order to spare their lives. And unfortunately, that was the dominant stream in the army at the time. And we're seeing the results now.
Yes, indeed. And I've listened to the likes of Breaking the Silence. A lot of them seems to speak. They say the same thing or similar things to what you've said, and how, this kind of freeing, cathartic moment that happens, and and suddenly they're being themselves again, right? Because it's like, I wasn't that person, but I didn't know I wasn't that person, because that's what the person I was supposed to be. Now I know who I am, and I'm not going to take that. Let's talk going forward. You said you believe in, I'm laughing because you're one of the few, like Miko Peled, there's a few others like you who believe in a one-state solution. Shael, the two states is impossible. You want a one state? How are you going to design that?
Well, unfortunately, that leads us to a solution that's forced on Israel.
Who's going to do that?
It will have to be the internal collapse of Israel.
Okay.
We're seeing signs of that happening. I would say that the collapse of Israel is almost an inevitability. But it's a long-term inevitability. I don't think that what's happening now with the Eurovision or whatever is going to end Israel. The process by which Israel is going to end is pretty simple. Israel is, in terms of its population, is vastly outnumbered by its enemies. The Israeli policy is creating more and more enemies by the day, especially in the last year or two. After decades of progress since the 90s in terms of being accepted in the Middle East, Israel's destroying all that now. And that will only continue. Why? We have a demographic change in Israel that will keep the right wing, the extreme right wing, in power in perpetuity. Even if Netanyahu loses the next election, he's going to lose to the right. And the government...
Naftali Bennett, is that right? Yes.
That's right. And after Naftali Bennett, there'll probably be someone more extreme. And the reason is there's more and more ultra-Orthodox people being born every year, more and more settlers being born every year. The media landscape is more right-wing, so a lot of people in the kind of squishy center are becoming more right-wing. Liberal Israelis, like myself, tend to leave and also tend to have fewer children. So demographically speaking, the country will become more and more right-wing, which will create more enemies. That's number one. The, quote-unquote elites of the country that create the technological advantage that allows Israel to defeat all its enemies are leaving the country. PhDs, doctors, scientists, so on and so forth, leaving the country because they feel the country is becoming less democratic and they're less safe because of terror attacks and so on and so forth. And then there's also, because of Israel's increasingly aggressive policy, due to its increased right-wing orientation, more and more Western countries will turn against it, and then sanctions will be enacted, which will then make more people from the elites leave which will continue this cycle. What will eventually happen is you'll have a theocratic Israel that will no longer have a significant technological advantage over its enemies. In fact, considering current trends with Qatar, the UAE, and so on and so forth, that will probably end up being enemies of Israel due to its policy, they will have the technological advantage in the long term. Without a demographic advantage, they'll be unable to maintain the technological advantage. Meanwhile, also losing the demographic advantage to a greater extent between the Jordan and the Mediterranean. I don't know how long this process takes. It could take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I don't see any way to reverse it. Sort of liberal Israelis like myself already accept that this is going to happen. We were talking about fighting for our country a year or two ago. Now everyone agrees there's nothing to fight for.
Incredible.
So Israel will be at a point eventually. Oh, and another thing, every round of conflict with the Palestinians gets more bloody, right? You had the first intifada was almost nonviolent. Second intifada was horrific. This current third intifada, which is what this is the worst of all by a mile. The next one will be worse. And eventually Israel is not going to be able to defeat it. And so a solution will unfortunately be forced onto Israel. If Israel were to negotiate, it would get much better terms. But what's going to end up happening is Israel will be forced by the barrel of a gun to accept something that they do not want to accept.
Okay.
It's kind of like what happened to the Afrikaners in South Africa, or to the Rhodesians, or to the Algerian Pied Noirs, or so on and so forth. And that's when there will be a one-state solution on terms that no one, including myself, wants. But I believe that's what's going to happen.
So, in short, it's going to take, we're looking at least one or two more, possible two more generations before we get to this peaceful land that everybody keeps talking about, or a peaceful coexistence.
I don't think it's going to be a peaceful coexistence. The trouble is when you have a group that's oppressed for as long as the Palestinians have been oppressed, and they finally break their chains, it doesn't end up necessarily in peaceful coexistence. It can end up in ethnic cleansing and murder. You know, just think about what happened to the German citizens who lived in Eastern Europe after World War II. They were involved in genocide against the local population, and they were thrown out, and in some cases slaughtered and so on. I don't think there will unfortunately, the scenario I'm painting isn't one of coexistence. It will at least start with a lot of violence. What happened in South Africa is the exception, not the rule.
Right. So what you're saying is the Palestinians will become the majority and the Israelis will become the minority. And of course, then whoever has the power then wants to basically do to them what was due to the minority, what was done to them. That's interesting.
Unfortunately.
Time is going too fast. They're already calling, hold on, people. Honestly, Shael, the time is going too fast. And we haven't... I'd like you to give us... There's a question that I had that I wrote down, which was Oslo. Everything we're hearing now, how close or how far apart are they to Oslo? And people do talk about Oslo. They refer to Oslo. There was an argument yesterday as to whether Israelis supported Oslo, where, Yitzhak Rabin was killed. I'm going to give you a minute to kind of answer that. They've already started calling.
So, Oslo was definitely supported by the majority of Israelis, at least at its peak. Over time, due to the terror attacks that I mentioned, Oslo lost support. By the end of Oslo, by the time Netanyahu is elected, it wasn't as popular, and by the late 90s, there wasn't much support at all. But having said that, it's important that even though we thought of Oslo at the time in Israel as a great peace process, is very brave, that's not exactly what Oslo was. Oslo did not have a direct path to an independent Palestinian state. It had a path to a temporary entity.
Yep.
Rabin made sure not to say that there would be a full Palestinian state, although he believed that it would eventually lead to that. And most importantly, in retrospect, Oslo allowed Israel to continue to build settlements. And Israel used that opportunity to build more settlements than it had ever built before, something that stunned the Palestinians on the other side. And when Edward Said said that this was used as a way to launder the occupation and give it longevity, is exactly what happened. The Palestinian Authority became Israel's contractors of occupation. They've been handling the day-to-day process of occupation for Israel. They're a gift to Israel. Israel's destroying it now because it's gone fanatical. The truth is, Oslo turned into an Israeli vehicle to further the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza. So one of the reasons most Israelis supported it is because it wasn't really meant to liberate the Palestinians.
The Palestinians, right. I have a comment here. Says, tell him the Muslims have never been victims. They see the Jews as their cousins. Okay. I have another, where is it now? We have a question on WhatsApp. I'm coming to your calls. People, hang on in there. Right. Good evening, Sergey, and your wonderful guest. My name is Mauton from Ikoyi. Yes, you're going to need a pen, Shael, because it's all going to be coming in sharp and fast. I have a question for your guest. Suicide rate amongst the IDF soldiers is increasing on a daily basis. What is Israel doing to mitigate the effects of the horror in Gaza on its citizens and on Palestinians? Right, write that down. They're calling. Let me answer this. Make it short, sharp, and succinct. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. 30 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. This is Don Duque from Saboyaga. When I was younger, I normally hear this PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization. What happened to this organization?
Okay, thank you. I'll ask him. Thank you very much. Right, Shael, that's what happened to the PLO. Let me answer this. Hello. Okay, you snooze, you lose. We don't have the time. Right, what? So I think I've been able to give you two there. The third one is coming in now. Hello.
Hello?
Turn off the radio, please. Now. Hello, 30 seconds. Hello?
Hello?
Go ahead, turn off your radio, please, and ask your question. 30 seconds. Okay, sorry, I don't have the time. Sorry, call back. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, your question, please.
Yeah, good evening. I know this is
very quickly, come to your phone and ask your question, please.
My question is, since October 7, I've been hearing genocide that Israel are committing. So what are the ones that is happening in my own country that the Fulani herdsmen...
Well, Shael is not from your country. Is Israeli Jew. Sorry, Shael, that's Nigeria. He wanted you to comment on what's going on in Nigeria North. Right, so there was a question about the PLO. I know, I can see you laughing. I told you, my listeners are amazing. Right, there was a question about the PLO and the other. I don't know whether you got the other two questions or the lines are going crazy now.
I didn't get the third question. I got the...
Okay.
I got the suicide one and I got the PLO one.
Okay, just answer those two. I'll come back to you. You've got 30 seconds because all the line are going crazy.
Okay, so regarding suicide, Israel's doing very little. Soldiers are coming to their commanders and saying, I'm in deep distress. Please don't send me to Gaza. And again, they're getting sent into Gaza again. Like Aaron Bregman said, this is also destroying Israeli souls. And Israel's not taking precautions with their soldiers and not taking precautions with Palestinian civilians. And the suicide rates in the IDF are incredibly high, and they're covering up some of the cases as well. There used to be some significant care for you if you were suffering from a mental breakdown in the IDF. And because there are personnel shortages in the IDF, people are being sent in. They know it increases the risks of suicide, and they're doing it anyway. And I spoke to psychologists in the IDF who have told me that they're doing that, and they're outraged.
Okay. The PLO.
The PLO is now the legitimate and internationally recognized government of Palestine. So when you see a UN delegation for the Palestinian UN delegation, state of Palestine, and so on and so forth, that's the PLO government. They were recognized as the legitimate representatives of the Palestinian people by the UN in the 1970s, US in the 1980s. They're the ones Israel did Oslo with. So when you hear Palestinian Authority, you're hearing the PLO. The main faction of the PLO is Fatah, and that's Mahmoud Abbas and those people. There are all these other organizations under that umbrella, and they're all part of the government.
Thank you very much.
Talk about bringing Hamas into the PLO too,
Yes.
in order to create a unity government, but that hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened because Mahmoud Abbas wouldn't let it. Yes, indeed. Hello. 30 seconds, please, very quickly. I don't have time.
Yeah, Marco from First Talk.
Go ahead.
I just want to ask if it seems I read somewhere that the Hamas are actually keeping Netanyahu in office and out of prison. If they disband, will it make will it
weaken
keep Netanyahu out of office? Will
Okay.
it help the peaceful process? Thank you.
Okay, great question. Right, he said, if Hamas disbands, will it speed up the peace process? Gosh, you're all calling. I can only take a few. We don't have time. Hello, 30 seconds, quickly.
Hello?
Quickly, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. My question is, now, Israel...
No, question. Don't need to just ask the question.
They're pushing for demographic majority over Palestine. Say in the House of Assembly, they want to be majority. And your guest is saying that one-state solution is possible. These two-state...
I need a question. I'm going to have to cut you off. All the lines are ringing.
Yes. Is it going to be possible... How is it good? This one-state solution of your guest?
Okay, is the one-state solution possible? Okay, right. You can write that down, Shahil. Hello.
Yeah, Cecile, once again, evening.
Go ahead, quickly, 30 seconds.
I want to talk about those ships heading to Gaza. What is the opinion of your guests? Countries are beginning to donate.
Okay, right, the Global Flotilla.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Right, Shahil, the Global Flotilla, we need your comment on that. And this is the last one, so you can answer. Hello.
I'm asking why Hamas are still holding those
hostages. Good question. Right. So, Shahil, you have several. The last question is, why is Hamas still holding the hostages? So, I think I can give him 2 minutes to answer all those. Yes. Did you guess all of them?
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, well, we'll start with Hamas. Hamas is holding on to the hostages because it wants Israel to withdraw from Gaza and end the genocide. And it's not going to give them up, so far at least, unless it gets guarantees of that. And then it will be able to have a political victory as well if it does that. Now, I was asked what happens if Hamas disbands. Will it be good for the peace process? Most likely, if Hamas disbands right now, Netanyahu will complete ethnic cleansing and genocide of Gaza. I don't think... but he won't have an excuse, so it'll be a little bit harder for him to do. He'll find the next enemy. Israel's already talking about fighting in Syria against Turkey, now that Iran's not that strong. Yeah, Israel is very good at finding new enemies. It can bomb Yemen, it can do all kinds of things. So peace seems very unlikely in any case. Is a one-state solution possible? Like I said, I think that if Israel negotiated it now and had, guarantees and a veto and a federation and international guarantees and so on and so forth, it maybe could work better than the nightmare that's happening now. But Israel's never going to agree to that, unfortunately. So like I said, it's probably going to happen at the barrel of a gun. As far as the Gaza flotilla is concerned, Israel is incredibly worried about this because it doesn't really have an answer for what happens if a large naval flotilla of countries that are semi-friendly comes to its shores and tries to break the blockade. It might actually be forced to break the blockade. But I think that what's happening right now is a little too half-hearted and weak to do that. Israel can jam things electronically, stop things, threaten, stop it without going to full-out war, and probably will manage to. But if the international community really rose to the occasion and built a flotilla that would open the blockade, Israel would have no answer to that. And I think that's something the international community should definitely work on.
Excellent. Well done. I'm going to sneak in one last one. Hello.
Hello, Cecile again.
Very quickly, Mrs. Oboli, very quickly.
All right. Cecile again, I hear your guest loud and clear, as all of us. But I just want to ask, what he's saying now, he, as a Jewish top person, if I could live in his head rent-free for once, just for 1 minute.
Quickly. No, you have 10 seconds left.
I get you, ma'am. What significant happenstance did he witness that changed his line of thought generally? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think you've answered it, but Mrs. Oboli wants to know what, as a Jewish person, what was the significant event that changed you generally? But somebody's calling from the UK. We can't answer because there's just no time.
Well, I mean, ultimately, when you realize that your country is committing a genocide, and you realize that it's not just because of the leader or political party, which I could, somehow move on from, but actually because the entire movement and the way the nation is shaped, you realize that you can't be part of this movement without supporting genocide.
Okay.
And for me, that was an earth-shaking moment. And a lot of other Israelis are undergoing exactly what I'm undergoing, not enough. But most people aren't doing it as publicly as I am. But that's the reaction a lot of people have to what Israel is doing.
Right, they're chasing me off.
My friends have gone through the same thing.
They're chasing me off the air. Shael, Ben, Ephraim, you've got to come back. Thank you so, so much.
Anytime. This was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Great interviewer, and your audience is very well informed and ask fantastic questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye-bye.
Essential vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. One Supermalt multivitamin after breakfast every day keeps you going.
Meals, don't compromise. Go for gold.
Rich, consistent taste for cooking mouth-watering soups, stews, and jollof. Choose wisely. Choose Gold. Terra Gold Seasoning Cube.
1 cube. Endless possibilities. Terra Gold.
How do we make our cooking come alive? Oh,
Terra.
For that tasty meal when you like, oh,
Terra.
I mean, you want cook food to impress, oh,
Terra.
Terra.
Whether it's jollof or na stew, even for porridge or spaghetti, cook to impress with Pepper Terra.
Pepper Terra.
No buy am.
But why?
No see say this big bull bag of rice no get the new big bull holographic seal.
Not true.
Introducing the Big Bull Holographic Seal Tape, your favorite authentic Big Bull rice, 50 kg and 25 kg. Now with holographic seal tape. This is to ensure you get the premium product from Big Bull Rice. Do not buy if the holographic seal tape is not on the bag or is broken. Big Bull Rice. Tasty rice nourished you.
Happy birthday, Ogami.
Now, wow. Oga, 73 years go dey show for your eyes, oh. You see they look your phone with ordinary eyes and it still dey sharp. All the shine on top.
My pikin, sense no be so. Now Visionaries eye supplement. Now I dey drink every day.
Visionaries eye supplement.
One sharp eyes not be by age. Visionaries eye supplement is made from natural ingredients and contains essential vitamins plus omega-3. Visionaries eye supplement is a product of Vitabiotics UK. Visionaries, let your eyes speak.
Omo, you dey find where you fit bet sharply and cash out anytime.
iLotBet dey here.
Come iLotBet. Football.
E-day.
Withdrawal.
Na sharp sharp.
Odds with a boss brain. 100 million casino jackpot.
E choke.
Omo, your life fit change with iLotBet. Oh, bonus boku when you sign up. And iLotBet iBot AI there to help you for predictions matter 247.
No dolo.
Sharply download the iLotBet app now or visit www.ilotbet.com. If you snooze, you lose. I play, I win. iLotBet. For 18 years and above, play responsibly.
It's amazing how your child grows up before your eyes. Enable their thriving development and the care they need with the new NanKid 4 with HMOs to support your child's development, probiotics to help your child's digestion and development, and high-quality proteins to support age-appropriate growth. And all of these work together to support your child's development and growth today and tomorrow. NanKid 4. Nourish your child's potential.
Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet of Cerelac Junior comes with the nutrition they need: natural grains, protein, and iron to support their physical growth, learning, and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
Meals have a way of taking us on a journey. And when you add plenty of vegetables like efo, ugu, and season with the rich taste of North seasoning cubes, even better.
So, go ahead and elevate your meals with more vegetables and the rich taste of Knorr cubes. Today, eat for good.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Real voices,